I think diving into the new story is the first order of business, so let us do it. Let's go. His life behind the scenes. Alright, let's go. Babylonia, 8 a.m. Commandant office. The pure white blackout curtain rises automatically with the sound of the door opening, allowing the cold daylight to dip in through the window panes. The artificial sky outside is now a clear, early morning blue. Sensing a sound coming from the doorway, a little robot seated at the center of the table blinks its round electronic eyes, but it trains them at the source of the sound. All vital signs confirm to be normal. Entering the room, the young man stops at the table as usual, placing his half-finished coffee with sugar on the table. He starts checking his terminal for new missions. The Operation Logistics Center doesn't assign special battle missions, and when there's no mission for him, the young man, as a commandant, can either be found working on battle reports or reviewing all sorts of test requests. More often, however, the young man carries on with his role as a military tactician. Specifically, he allocates intel and resources accordingly. Like his fellow strategists, he works with Babylonia's enormous intel network, but unlike others, he enjoys access to more parts of the network. With its gentle touch, the electronic screens come to life one after another, each brimming with tasks to be done. The robot stands up and spins around once before moving aside so the young man can work. Ever so gently, he pats the robot on the head. It sits in his hand, watching the young man smile at it. Ooh, Murray, let's go. Alright, okay. Alright, one thing at a time. Now, first things first. Two hours have passed by the time he finishes the final test report on the new remote connection device. The robot moves to the edge of the table, tapping his arm with moderate force, something it has been doing for the past 5 minutes. Oh, my bad. Oops, 5 minutes too late, huh? Rubbing his sore wrist, the blond man swallows 2 white pills with his cooled coffee. Heavy footsteps can be heard from the doorway. In the mirrored reflection of the wall ornament, Murray catches sight of a scarlet figure. Closing the screen before him and looking up at the doorway, he waits as the breezy figure makes a beeline through the reception room and straight into his office. Hey, Vera, let's go. Woof, woof. Hey, let's go. All the while without as much as a knock on the door. Without a thud, she drops a somewhat odd old folder and a memory drive in a zipper bag on the table. All the process was a real pain in the butt, but I'm giving it back to you now. Vera speaks with her usual mocking smile, her mind impossible to read. It's got the mission log and thing you need. With a glance at the folder, Murray looks knowingly back at Vera. Thank you. Murray sounds sincere enough, except Vera bursts into laughter. We have you to thank, Murray. You're doing a good job as Nicola's agent. And I need to say I'm impressed by how well you've removed yourself from the radar. Chronos needed an excuse to do what they do above the table, and the Parliament needed this chance to justify what they got. That's why I was sure they'd help. I'm sure it wasn't easy on your part, but you got what you wanted, all the same, right? I only did what little I could as the Cerberus commandant. Ha! The man before Vera looks harmless enough, but Vera knows he is anything but. As Cerberus's official commandant, Murray does not plan his strategy around orders from the HQ, setting him apart from the other commandants. He has a way of bringing out the best in Cerberus and never holds them back from what they do. In fact, he would even help his team to get off the hook on occasions when they get in trouble, or propose cooperation as if they were his equals. No one cares about some weakling commandant who can't go down to the surface, said Murray when they first met. The typical thing to do when taming a group of wild beasts is to collar and muzzle them, except it never seemed like something Murray was interested in doing. And that was when it dawned on Vera that this man, despite his gentle smile, is someone that old-timers in the Parliament would deem dangerous, whose insanity is different from Cerberus's. Vera, however, is no fan of restrictions herself, nor is she one to fear hidden fangs. You're all for your team members, while I am all for my benefits. Murray looks down gently at the little robot that spins around his hand. It's times like this that Vera finds Murray weirdly friendly. You can do whatever you want to do starting now, and I'll support you however I can, as I always have. I guess I'll just do that then, if Nicola has given me the green light. Anyhow, I'll be on my way now. With it, Vera waves at Murray as she turns around to leave. It was nice working with you. Seeing Vera off, Murray picks up the folder from the table, taking out the content inside and puts it in a common folder with the world government's logo on it. Babylonia, 11:30 a.m. Parliament Square. With the folder in his hand, Murray heads towards the square right outside the Parliament building. The artificial sunlight is warm and gentle. It's nearing midday and eat-in time. The square, however, misses its usual hustle and bustle is now cornered off with light strips and autonomous machines that stand in the way to the entrance. Apology, sir, but passage through here is temporarily prohibited. What's going on? We've identified a technical issue on the bridge of 13C module. With emergency maintenance underway now, all residents are prohibited from passing through. Oh, but I actually need to head down to the Parliament Hall. The temporary elevator on the left can take you up. You can head down to the hall from there. Right, of course. Thank you. The elevator is packed with staffers trying to go to the Parliament. While waiting for the elevator to arrive, Murray overhears a conversation. What's up with all the emergency maintenance now these days? Last time something like this happened, I literally had to walk around Babylonia to get to where I wanted to go. It's just a cover-up. A worker lowers his voice. Some resident caused a scene and triggered Babylonia's autonomous alarm system in the process. They've sent some orderlies over to take care of it. Thank you, YLS. Thank you. Thank you for the compliments. I'm trying my best, I'll be honest. I'm not a voice actor. I'm trying my best. I'm not really a voice actor. But thank you for the compliment. The guy said that punishing virus is a conspiracy that the world government came up with to control everyone. He went on to say that Earth was long gone, and that Babylonia is well on its way to another planetary system. That's absurd. We just saved a whole bunch of refugees from down there a while ago. Ain't nothing we can do about that. It's a closed chamber up here, and people only listen to what they believe in. There are even people who know nothing about the recent earthquake and the damage it's done, but think we're winning the war. Boy, the data is brutal to say the least. What happened to the guy, though? Heard the guy is a retired commandant. He came down with symptoms of mind damage and refused to believe in any visual recordings they showed him. He took the weapon from one of the orderlies, rushed down to the hangar, and tried to fly an aircraft back to Earth. I saw him a few days back at the Star of Life. He wasn't doing well then, but I never thought he'd lose himself altogether. Speaking of which, many retired soldiers seems to be having mental health issues lately. Something seems a little off here. Boy, I've been feeling pain in my head for quite some time now. It's probably got to do with the lack of sleep, but I guess you wouldn't know how it feels since you don't ever need to sleep. Wrong, my friend. We still need to sleep when we should. Ooh. After getting off the elevator, Murray heads straight down to the meeting room, which is located at the very end of the corridor. Ooh, who's this? Ooh, new NPC. Ooh. She cute. Not gonna lie. At the end of the corridor stands someone Murray has never met. Hearing Murray's footsteps, the person turns around this way. For a moment, she seems caught off guard before the wary look on her face quickly turns into a radiant smile. She doesn't seem exactly adept at masking her feelings. Hi. Moments later, Murray recalls a name that matches the face. Sika, the student who recently graduated as chief of her class at FOS. While Murray has never interacted with her, he hears about her every now and then from task force contracts. Oh, so she's a commandant, like us. Damn. Oh, thank you for the follow, YLS. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. Thank you for joining the fam. Thank you for joining the fam. Yeah, also, if you want to join Discord, links are in the About section on my profile. So if you want to join Discord or anything to know when I next go live and stuff, go out and join there. And also, I think there should be... I think I also have a Discord link as well. So let me get that real quick. So yeah, if you guys want to join the Discord there, go ahead and click that link and join up. If you want to join the Discord. To know when I next go live and just chill out there. And know more about me. Anyways. Yeah. Okay, she's also... Oh, and she's also like head. Okay, of course, nice. Unlike the previous chiefs, however, Sika is under fire because of some controversy. Commandant Sika? Murray greets Sika with a polite smile. Sika quickly greets Murray back, apparently having been caught by surprise. Oh my, sir, I didn't expect you to still remember my name. Oh, just call me Sika, if you don't mind. The honorific really actually makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Hey, thank you, Drift Knight. Thank you for the compliment. Scratching her head, Sika tries to put herself at ease. But you deserve all the respect as a chief. And it just hit me. Didn't I graduate from FOS myself? Looking slightly uneasy, Murray changes the topic. I see you came to pay Commander Nicola a visit. What's the matter? Right, I actually came to submit my application for a service mission. It's been approved without hiccups. Fortunately, as I was just on my way to the hangar. Murray can tell the process must have been anything but easy from the look on her face. Smiling cheerfully, Murray gives Sika the thumbs up. Good luck with the mission. Thank you, I'll do my best. This is your last chance, Sika. Says Sika quietly to herself as she turns around to leave. Parting ways with Sika, Murray paces down the corridor until he reaches the room at the end. Through the crack of the door, he can see a solemn figure standing by the window. Taking a light breath, Murray knocks on the door. Come on in. There's still an hour to spare until the adaptation test of the day starts, but Lee already finds himself in the Science Council's classified laboratory. Asimov, on the other hand, sits in the middle of countless projector screens as usual, frowning at the ever-changing data before him. Behind him is a chamber partitioned by bulletproof glass walls, with several pods storing construct frames lined in parallel. The pods are empty, except for one that holds a frame. The pod is cornered off with red light strips, telltale of how important and dangerous the frame inside the pod is. You're early. We're still in the middle of fine-tuning the equipment and initializing the frame here, which is going to take a while. I know, I actually came for something else. Lee puts a memory drive on the table in front of Asimov. I came across some data, and I have a new hypothesis about the heteromer shards. Meeting no objections from Asimov, Lee inserts the memory drive into the system and opens up several encrypted files. Punishing language. Seeing these words, Asimov jumps to his feet. These are data left out of Chronos' trial record. And I'm also seeing the part missing from Shom's research data that's been retrieved. How did you get your hands on these? Do you still remember how there was a data anomaly from the 20th adaptation test that happened because of a wrong parameter was used for enemy simulation? I do, and that's because whoever was in charge back then screwed up by adding the data of a heterometer shard. Was it because of that garbled message? With a nod, Lee pulls out a code on the screen. This is no garbled message, but an encrypted message that you can only decrypt with a special key, which I did a week ago. And the key is... I'm afraid I can't tell you what it is just yet, until I have all my points of concern sorted out. Right, well tell me what you saw in there first then. Babylonia, 1 p.m. Okay. Walking out of the parliament, Murray lets out a sigh of relief. Nicholas stopped questioning him about his source of information after that, which in turn made it easier for his work to progress. With the issue off his back, Murray now feels more cheerful than ever. I'm not going to look into your source of information, as I said. But I still do want to keep you in mind that everything you've done will mean absolutely nothing if you ever get busted. Thank you so much, Commander. I'm just doing my job. With a mixture of emotions in his expression, Nicola keeps his gaze on a smiling Murray and the black folder sitting squarely on the table. With your complete trust, I now see it as my duty to do the best I can. I have the original now. You are to categorize the rest of it as a mission recycled file through special channel like you always do. Also, quick comment. I actually like this sort of narrowing. Very good. Almost cinematic, really. Very almost anime-like. I like it. Very good presentation. Ooh, also the piano. Ooh, that's good. That's good stuff. They'll know what to do with it. Of course. Yeah, the rest of it should help make Lee's frame more compatible. For all he cares, anything could go wrong, but after this, after all, he wants more than anything to be of help to Lee. He vividly remembers the time when he can do nothing but watch as Lee soldiered on, carrying the weighty burden of life, and that time felt like an eternity. Lee would always tell him that things would get better in no time, except what he said was mostly just lies. Murray looks up at Eden's midday sun sky. Thanks to the artificial sun, Eden is perpetually sunny with blue skies. When Murray recalls his times with Lee, however, their memories together would always begin with one certain night from many years ago. It was right after Lee started working that high-paying job as an engineer that Murray found that his brother became very busy, to the point that he stopped coming home on time. There were times when Lee would come home early and amaze Murray with all the sorts of of obscure but interesting engineering knowledge. Very often, though, Lee would leave home with some weird boxes late at night when Murray was fast asleep, and then come back home again by dawn before Murray woke up. It wasn't something Murray was aware of to begin with, until one day a celebration was held for the first time in years downtown where they lived. The day wasn't exactly ideal for holding a celebration because it seemed like on the verge of rain, except it never rained, and the celebration took place as planned. The celebration lasted late into the night. For the entire time, Murray was waiting for Lee to come home to go to the celebration together, but he never did because of work. Murray took his medicine before going to bed. When he next opened his eyes, he heard the bangs of fireworks and the hubbubs of people out there. Lee? From the crack beneath the door that opened into Lee's room, Murray was seeing light. As far as Murray can remember, though, Lee never closed his door. So Murray got off his bed, tiptoed to the doorway, and pushed the door ajar ever so lightly. Through the crack, Murray could see Lee, sitting by his workbench. Lee was calmly wrapping a roll of gauze around his arm. The table was strewn with used pieces of gauze and all sorts of hemostatic medications, each of which was as red as blood itself, horrifying a young Murray to no end. Damn, dude. It hurt. It's got to hurt, and Murray knew that it's got to hurt more than what he himself came down sick. Than when he came down sick. Yet Lee didn't even let out so much as an ouch, as though he's perfectly used to it. Against the ear-splitting bangs of fireworks out there, Lee didn't notice that his door was ajar. The next morning, Lee woke Murray up as usual and showed Murray a gift he apologized for not being able to make into the celebration with him. Looking at Lee, Murray wasn't able to ask any of the questions he wanted to ask. It hit him that, as he was then, he wasn't able to help Lee at all. Rather, he is one of the things that caused Lee to worry. Oh, damn. He felt like a burden, eh? Damn, that is kind of close to home, not gonna lie. It wasn't until Murray saw a long sealed away construct dossier in the Babylonia database that Murray finally learned about what Lee had to go through. The weight of every single word, bone deep, the dossier was a testament to Lee's suffering Murray has never been able to let go of ever since. Would things have turned out any differently if he had walked into Lee's room that night? Would what he had to say to Lee have stood a chance of changing his mind if he had found out what Lee had been doing just a little bit sooner? Just little what ifs, huh? All the what ifs, however, mean absolutely nothing. Lee has never stopped moving, and to really be of any help to Lee, Murray has to catch up to Lee. Which is why he has jumped at every possible chance to get his hands on any resources there were. No matter how slim the chance, there is no going back now, and he has to make sure everything goes as planned. Man. Seeing how Murray feels like through his eyes, like sort of Lee's interlude type deal, like backstory through Lee's eyes is actually through Murray. Man, seeing Lee's backstory through Murray's eyes is actually really cool. Really good. Murray couldn't be there for Lee when Lee was going through all the suffering, so he promised himself that he was always going to be there for Lee going forward, no matter what might stand in the way. Tightening his grip around the dossier, Murray turns around and heads towards the Science Council. Oh damn, let's go. The key deep within. Babylonia, 12:30 p.m. Recovered data. Data recovery in progress. 89% completed. Data to be played back with severely damaged portion omitted. An audio recording is played. I've never let anyone in on the theory I'm about to share in a few moments, not even my sponsor. Only Ascendants can find this document. If you're watching this now, then I'm most likely dead. A dead man has no secrets. The theory is absolutely meaningless to my research. The theory points towards the origin of knowledge itself. And one thing I can say with certainty about it is that the kind of future it brings is not one the Ascendants would be happy to see. Not to mention that the theory is not something we can make happen anyway, as we are. The language of the punishing virus, or to put it differently, the codes of it. The key to the truth of it is hidden somewhere in a higher dimension, and the idea of us getting hold of it is simply beyond our wildest dreams, given that we haven't even yet conquered time itself. Oh. Oh, so the punishing virus is... Oh, so... What I'm getting from this is that the punishing virus might be... multi-universal, multi-dimensional? Extra-dimensional? Ayo? I don't know. This is theory crafting. Just theory crafting right now. I don't know. Don't tell me. No spoilers. No spoilers, please. Huh. I don't even know. If the punishing virus is a tool that some higher civilization uses to filter out the fittest among us, or if it's just a randomly sowed seed that just so happens to have taken root on Earth. People are probably going to figure that out millennia from now, but for now, what I just said is nothing more than an empty hypothesis. I am, however, storing everything I know in this terminal, whether it's something with practical values or not. I believe this research result deserves a place in this world. The recording turns blank for several tens of minutes, after which it comes to a sudden stop with a monologue of the seemingly disturbed speaker. Now, if you can answer this one last question for me. The merciful one. Oh? The recording ends. There's enough rough theoretical model in the attached file, and it's something Shom came up with using the data he got through unconventional means. Oh, hey, connecting it to Grand Blue. Okay. Nice. The Grand Blue chapter. Okay. Nice callback. I like that. With the data, we'll be able to decrypt at least 23.5% of the message from the heteromer shard. There's still a lot of things we don't understand about the new frame, but my hunch is that the message will be key to helping us move forward. Seem to have a lot of these hunches these days, huh? Saying no more, Asimov turns around to face the screen and starts reading away with a heavy face. Moments later, he nods his head. Right, it's exactly as you said. Plugging this model in is going to help us decrypt a heteromer shard a lot faster. By the way, the Parliament can't know about any of this for now. And I gather that's because it can't disclose the source? Exactly. And I'm sure you know that would be against the protocol. I just want the adaptation test for the specialized frame to go well. You know pretty well that I wouldn't have come to seek your help if I wanted to follow the protocol. I'm not interested in any of that little drama, but that doesn't mean I'm just going to sit around and let you drag me down. I'm not the only one in charge of the project, which means the Science Council will make all this public to its researchers sooner or later. Damn, I can't speak today. God damn, I couldn't speak. Sorry, I had a seizure. And that means I'll have to come up with a reasonable source. Of course. These data aren't the abnormal data I got from the adaptation tests. It was actually a set of coordinates. Well, Earth, a week ago. Yep. Yep, thank you. Hydrate. Yep. Naked Drift 9. Hydrate. Hydration check. It was a regular surface mission, but Lee didn't head down to the specified mission location with the rest of Grey Raven. Instead, he asked to be assigned to a different location so he can drop by a certain place after the mission. For the longest time, the team of researchers at the Science Council was at their wits' end dealing with abnormal data, until they decided that the data was nothing more than programming errors and carried on with their research into the Inver device and frames. Lee, however, cracked a garbled message one day after an adaptation test. He was driven mostly by instinct, which explained why Lee found the data so familiar. The key to decrypting the message wasn't a piece of knowledge that pertained to some classified information possessed by a certain force or team, but rather it came from a childhood game. A game that he used to play with Murray, that is. We'll be able to solve all the puzzles when we get our hands on the key. The key in the passcode? Yes, and the most impressive thing about this kind of passcode is that you don't even need to hide the content it protects. But without the key to decrypt the passcode, the message would just be a bunch of garbled text in its encrypted form. Aw, cute child Lee, aw. Aw, that cute art. Aw, they're both so cute. Cute little boys. Mind-boggling, right? All it does is change some numbers and switch the order of letters and then encrypt them. And bam, you end up with something that seems utterly beyond human understanding. The principle it works on, though, is really a no-brainer. That's mind-boggling indeed. I only read about these a few days ago myself. The public library has a lot of books on that. I can go and get you a few tomorrow if you're interested. Sure. Not exactly understanding every single word on the page, Murray was reading one of the books Maureen had borrowed from the library. Its pages heavy with notes and abounding with words Maureen had written. I want to go outside with you, Maureen. You can do that when you get better. Fine. Speaking of passcodes, should we try and come up with a passcode that only the two of us understand? Is that even doable? Of course, it'd be something that no one else but the two of us can understand. Pretty cool, right? And let's see, right, let's try this. Yeah. Lee snapped back as the device pinpointed the location and started beeping. Shaking his head, he looked down at the electronic map in his hand. Of course he has a map. Of course Lee has a map. He's famously not good with directions, so... The map showed the fastest route to the destination. A deserted building 500 meters away with nothing seemingly out of the ordinary. No signals of corrupted. According to the combat log, a task force squad once engaged in a fight here with a group of corrupted and neutralized the zone in large part. Reconstruction efforts for this zone, however, were put on hold when an earthquake hit and damaged the energy center nearby, putting the zone on the list of many zones waiting to be reclaimed. A 200-meter radius is as accurate as it gets with the coordinates. Looks like I'm going to have to go through them one by one. Did Murray come up with the message for him? Why didn't Murray just reach out to him like he usually did? Lee did bring these questions up to Murray, except Murray only responded him with a slightly perplexed look. This seems almost too easy for a trap. Less than 40 minutes to go until the end of the mission. Guess I'll try looking around. Something caught Lee's attention during the process. It was a robot, one with barely any dust on it, making it stand out from the rest of the dusty machines here. It appeared to have stopped working just a short while ago. Sitting quietly in the corner, the robot seemed to be staring in Lee's direction, as though expecting someone's arrival. Lee walked up and straightened the robot. A family robot from the Golden Age. Wait, is this a modified one based on that? No. No sign of infection. This model. It's been so long since I last saw one of them. A garbled message no one else was able to crack and an overly familiar robot. These were too good to be coincidental. Power component is only 23% damaged. Guess I'm lucky. Wait, a self-destruction program? Why would a family robot need it, though? The program, however, didn't work as it was supposed to. All of its control systems were apparently deactivated before the program was executed. After removing the self-destruction program, Lee connected to the robot's memory shell, hoping to access its data. All wiped out, huh? This, however, was not stopping Lee. Lee's knowledge about programming and the structures of machines wasn't something he got after becoming Construct. His interest in numbers and puzzles started when he was a kid, which later turned into his burning passions for machina and numerical programming, which then later became what he did for a living, until... Cyborgs? Yep, and that's something I've been researching. I know, and I also know that you've been working on neural network algorithms and probabilistic programming. I read about them a lot in your books. If you put an AI program and a bionic machine together, you end up with something more powerful than a human being. Do you know how to make that, Morian? When can we see it? Well, that's probably going to take some time. I want to focus on getting you operated on first. Hey, that's what you said last time too. I'll be waiting, Morian, so just don't overwork yourself. By the way, there are a million things I don't understand about the programming problems you showed me before. Alright, we're just readjusting a little bit. With a frown, Morian looked at all the notes in the book and all the codes that occupied the computer screen. When he first showed Murray a few things about programming, he only meant for them to keep him entertained at home. Murray, however, had been picking up the knowledge and technology, all of which were well beyond his current grasp, at the speed of a child who was much too busy running after an express train to consider whether the feat was out of his league. I told you to rest, Murray. How much time did you spend on all these? Well, I didn't spend that much time. Just don't do it again, alright? You don't want to ruin your eyes. Fine. Murray lowered his head in disappointment as the computer screen blackened out from idling. Morian knew how Murray was, and that Murray's conditions weren't hindering his intellectual development. Mentally, Murray is a lot tougher than most kids his age. Which is why Morian could never bring himself to be overly harsh whenever he looked Murray in his eager eyes. I mean, there's no rush, since we still got lots of time. After patting Murray on the head, Morian picked up the book from the table and turned the computer screen back on. Alright, let's work through them together. Now, the code here. Brotherly love, man. You love to see brotherly love, man. The older brother being older brother, man. That's the cutest shit. Not gonna lie. The more Lee looked into the robot, the more he found himself awash in a weird sense of familiarity. The robot was used as a messenger, with what little was left of its memory, showing records of multiple entries. Lee tried to probe further, hoping to find the author of the entries, but was denied access, which he saw coming, impressive and well thought out indeed. The underlying codes that drove the machine were complicated and uncommon, except Lee was no stranger to them, because they looked exactly like the kind of codes he would write. Pretty neat, but I would have done a better job. Can it be you, Murray? Lee was indeed the one who taught Murray all these, which was something they continued even after Murray went to Babylonia and was allowed to access public lectures. Every now and then, Murray would call Lee with questions he had from lectures. Chronos monitored every single message a construct sent out and received. An effort offset by Lee and Murray, who would mask what they really meant to say with their secret codes and hide them everywhere in the messages to each other. With their respective lives to live, Lee and Murray rarely ever saw each other. There really wasn't anything secret about their messages. They were simply exchanges of daily greetings. Interpreting the messages with their own secret passcodes was how they showed they cared for each other. Aww. When Lamia impersonated Murray and lured Grey Raven into ascended space, her behavior wasn't the only thing that gave her away to Lee, but also the fact that he didn't give the usual Murray-like replies after sending Murray his usual encrypted messages. Analysis complete. There was only so much data he could fix. For the mostly damaged, garbled text, Lee filtered for what he was looking for. Don't think I can do what I need to do next here in this pile of ruins. Putting in his pocket the memory drive with all the data he needed, Lee stood up. Right on time for the meetup. Just then, he heard an ear-splitting bang from afar. With incessant bangs that seemed to come from the depths below, the ground grew violently shaky as debris and cement rained down, shattering into pieces and stirring up waves of dust. Lee dashed out of the building and into the empty square outside. Right before the door to the building gave him away an ear-deafening bang, burning away the pile of machines. Was that an explosion? If it was, Lee can only imagine how severely damaged the location of the explosion must be. This is an emergency report to all teams in the area. There was, however, no sign of corruption in Lee's surroundings. The concentration of the punching had been within the safe range since he arrived. With the ground still trembling, Lee felt as though the entire world was shaking violently. The air reverberated with the sound of walls crackling, as tiny cracks made their way from the walls and the ground toward a focal point like the most venomous of snakes. What in the world? It's an earthquake! Hurry up and run! An abandoned shopping center, 500 meters away from Lee's mission location, a group of scavengers were at the mercy of chaos. They had been there for a week now, and they wasted no time sealing the door at the entrance as soon as they arrived for fear that the corrupted would enter the place through it, leaving the fire escape on their right, their only passage option. Ironically, the very measure they had taken now hindered their escape from the place. They had no choice but to leave behind their personal belongings and run for dear life from the trembling building. Worn out to nothing more than a dilapidated shell by years of sun and rain, the building finally gave way with the violent shakes, sealing their fate as the pieces of what used to be the dome above rained down and landed on the floor. Right before the exit was blocked off, however, the scavenger at the end of the line lifted his kid up with all his might. And with it, he collapsed to the ground as chunks of fallen rocks landed on the slanted cement wall and crushed his foot. Ouch! Ah! The shake seemed to have stopped momentarily, as the world in his eyes slowly lost its colors and the light faded away. He might have escaped corrupted in the red tide, but the Crimson Virus was never the only source of threats. With the world in its apocalyptic state, however, there was nothing he could do now except for sitting trapped underground as he watched himself literally bleed his life away. Man, rest in peace, bro. Right before he's about to fall unconscious, the scavenger heard someone's voice. There's a survivor here. Out of my way. I'm taking over. Oh, hey, yo, Lee from Lee MVP? Right when Lee lifted a thick chunk of cement, he heard the tentulum in his arm snap, sending a pain signal and a limb damage warning to his mind at the same time. Shutting off the pain signal, Lee lifted the concrete block with all his might and shot into the depths of darkness. Is anyone down there? Let me know if you can hear me. I'm a construct from Babylonian's task force. Hang in there. I'll get you out of there in no time. Hey, yo, let's go, Lee. Let's go. Brothers. And that's that. I had to stop when the earthquake hit, and he only managed to come back with those data. And this deserted robot you found here would just so happen to have the data we needed. Now that seems anything but a coincidence to me. It's almost as though someone baited you there just to show you all of that, and then destroyed it right away. Natural disasters are not within anyone's control, though. How do you know the earthquake was natural, though? We don't have evidence to say one way or another, though. Let's try to focus on solving the issues we have here with the frame. Speaking of natural disasters, though, there is something that caught my attention. Liv saw the version of the future that Asnet predicted when she was in Imperia, and her infection reached a critical value. During recovery, she wrote a report of what she had seen. I have the report, and in it she wrote about Earth's Everwinter. And that's what Bianca saw too, when she saw the future in the red tide at Copperfield Aquarium. It seems that both Asnet and the Punishing Virus point to the same thing, that humanity is going to be wiped out at the end of a winter lasting for decades. Are you saying that the recent earthquake had to do with that prediction? Oh. Damn. So I guess humanity will be wiped out. So I guess another ice age will wipe out humanity, eh? Rip humanity. Are you saying that the recent earthquake had to do with that prediction? Asimov nods. A lot of things can bring about an ice age, such as changes in solar activities or if Babylonia ever falls, and also strong geological activities. Everwinter, huh? The strange interference that's messing with my mind is here again. It's gone again before I could even see it. But as we are now, the punishing virus is still the bigger threat. I hope I'm just worried for nothing. I just sent the Parliament an application a few days ago asking to put together a team of budget analysts for the situation. God only knows if it's going to pass, though. Asimov knocks on the table as he casts a glance at the progress of initialization on the screen. Almost there. Give me a few more seconds. I just need to do some prepping for the adaptation test. You risked your life to bring the data back, and now it's my job to put them to good use. Seeing Asimov at work, Lee touches his side pocket. There's a video recording from the robot's data that Lee hasn't shown him. Lee's feeling uneasy, precisely because of what he saw in the video recording. So what's the conclusion? In case you weren't aware, we always need to go out of our way to smuggle things you want into Babylonia's transportation crafts. I can tell you everything I know, except you'd probably be disappointed. I'll tell you if I am after I hear it. I mean, I still have confidence in what you're capable of. I'll be damned, you managed to get all the extra information from the mermaid without letting her go. You're either very careful or you're simply just lucked out. But anyhow, Chronos isn't the only one who's aware of that. Let's sit back and see where it's going to take us. Someone taps a glass with a finger. Heh, I see you weren't surprised about the information leakage. Now you want to be careful around Nicola. Because the old man will probably waste no time getting rid of you once you're no use of him anymore. You seem to know Commander Nicola very well. Care to share some of your most memorable moments with him? Oh! Oh, is the robot the... Oh, ayo? I think I know what the robot is. Looks like. Or it is and what it looks like. You seem to know Commander Nicola very well. Care to share with me some of your memorable moments with him? The person on the other side of the phone chuckles. We're doing a business of trust here. So let's just keep our distance as is, yeah? Now, going back to the agents, they're a mysterious bunch. We tried to look into them with all our human resources, but came back with nothing. If you're trying to look into that one particular agent, then I'm afraid you'll be most disappointed. The agent you're looking into, the one that claims to be an author, knows how to manipulate people with the truth he wants to see. He wants them to see. No, we aren't trying to learn anything about him. It's just that we keep coming across a particular name in the latter half of Shum's research documents that Babylonia didn't recycle. The merciful one. Exactly. And that's the creme de la creme. Now, how to get our hands on it is the question. That's something even Babylonia's Department of Information would find challenging. Which is why I came to seek your help in the first place. It's impossible to identify the speakers with the acoustic fingerprints, as both their voices have been processed. Lee, however, has no trouble identifying one of them from the way he speaks. It's Murray. What else is he still hiding from me? Lee has always known that Murray was up to something behind his back. except he never brought it up. With battles never stopping and everyone trudging ahead, the conversations have become repetitive. Lee can't even remember the last time he enjoyed a casual talk with Murray. You can no longer guess what was going through Murray's mind, and Murray is no longer the adorable young brother he once was. Still, nothing made Lee prouder than seeing Murray going through life as a healthy boy. Aww. Murray, on the other hand, grew occupied with his own life, until one day it hit Morian that Murray was no longer the little brother who would look at him in admiration. They might not have the same blood running through their veins anymore, but nothing will ever erase their brotherhood. Aw, ayo, bros. Hey, bros to the end, man. Aw. They share similar feelings, holding the ground on similar issues, and fall quiet at some similar times. And even when it comes to hiding what they don't want people to know, they're similar too. I'm doing a great job of finishing work early, which is why I'm home early to spend more time with you, Murray. You know, working as a mechanic is a piece of cake for me. Don't worry, it's all good now, and I'm sure it'll be out and about in no time too, Murray. I want to work at the world government, Morian. Well, I'd be happy working as a tactical liaison officer. I mean, I can't rely on you forever, right? Oh, I've been doing fine these days. Haven't really felt anything in a while. Well, they're probably going to promote me. I just need to do a little test. Come on, I'll be fine. I'm going to show you how well you've taught me. Lee rarely ever gets upset, but here he is now in the Science Council's meeting room, looking all anxious and flustered. If my memory serves me correctly, the world government decided to put a stop to the remote connection technology because they found out the user would suffer detrimental effects. Right, a mind connection would synchronize the consciousness of the commandant and the construct, at the cost of the commandant's mental stability, that is. The effects were so detrimental that there were a few dozen commandants who had to retire early with side effects from using a remote connection during the initial phase of the Reconquista age. Kista age. Nicola looks alarmingly at Asimov, who looks calmly at Nicola, as though trying to say I'm just saying it like it is. Why is it then that I'm seeing Murray's name in this name list for a remote connection test? Lee caught his own tone. He knows that as a construct, he isn't supposed to raise his voice when speaking to a higher up. Murray has great potential. We need people like him, and not to mention, he's recommended himself for the role on several occasions. Speaking softly, Hassan didn't become upset with the way Lee has spoken to him. I'm guessing part of that is him wanting you to see him as the grown-up that he is now. And none of us can really ever live on our own terms, so long as we're still stuck under threat. But I do have the right to know what's happening to Murray as his only legal guardian. I mean, if anything happens to him. Lee, let's take a moment to remember that you won't have to be... Let's take a moment to remember that you wouldn't have been here if we decided to come down on you for going through classified information without permission. And I'm sure you don't need anyone to remind you that, as a construct, no longer belonging to Chronos, because the world government now owns the documents you signed back then. Hey, welcome to stream and chat, Mysterio Farian. Welcome to stream and chat. Welcome to the fam. Every person who helps us inch a step closer to victory is important to us. Enough said. Well, we all need to do what we're supposed to do. Return to your team. All done. Lee comes to his senses with the sound of machines kicking into gear. Coming up to the pod, Asimov looks down at the brand new frame. All set, we're good to proceed to today's adaptation test. Hey, let's go. Anyways, yeah, welcome to the stream and chat, Misto Farion. Welcome. What other gacha games? Off stream, I actually play Path to Nowhere. And also Epic 7 off stream as well. But I'm also trying to look into other gacha games as well. Maybe potentially Honkai and Genshin, maybe? Or Arknights. Maybe gonna do a reaction on music and trailers there sometime. So you can probably check it out on my YouTube channel, which is linked in my about section for my on this channel right here. So stay tuned. I got some pretty big videos coming to the channel soon. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do some. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do some Genshin reaction videos. Maybe give that a shot, because I haven't played it. I'll be honest, I haven't never played Genshin before. Never really heard much from Genshin actually. So it'll be a first time experience. So yeah. Thank you for coming into the chat and chilling out. Appreciate it. Misto, thank you so much. Correct. Earth, 2:30 p.m. Well, you never know. I mean, yeah. Well, you never know with that. Earth, 2:30 p.m. Yeah, Genshin is very popular. I'm honestly kind of excited to see what all the hubbub is about with Genshin. Not gonna lie. I want to see what all the hubbub is about. Aboard a transportation craft that's making its way through the stratosphere. The ground gradually sharpens into view as the aircraft descends through the clouds, leaving a trail in its wake. Seen from above through the clouds, the deserted city, looking like a mirage from the Golden Age, seems to be buzzing with hustle and bustle. Also sharpening into view as the aircraft nears the ground are countless faults. Faults left in the wake of the earthquake that struck this place, tearing through the ground amongst the grey forest of buildings. To this planet, the faults are but the proof of a plate in motion. To humans, however, they are proof of a disaster. Around the faults are what remains of the buildings that once stood there, some of which have given way from years of disuse in the earthquake, while others are marred with burn marks and bullet holes of all sizes. Commandant, our original location of landing is far more damaged than previously imagined. We'll be touching down ahead of schedule. Yes, please do. Roger that. Ready to descend. Switch to manual control. The aircraft starts descending amidst the roar of engines. No stranger to the turbulence that comes with the descent, You lower your head to review the particulars of the mission. An hour ago. According to the reports that came in, violent earthquakes have been observed across all regions over the last 2 months. Oh yeah? Can't wait to see what it's all about then. Can't wait to see what Genshin story is all about then. You give it a shot. Maybe sometime. I actually might stream Genshin on this channel actually, so stay tuned for that. So, you know, stay tuned and follow for that. Yeah, I probably will. Depending on if I like Genshin or not. If I like it or not. But yeah, definitely might stream Genshin. Hey, Misto! Thank you for the follow! Appreciate the follow, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, also, jump in the Discord to the... Also, quick thing, jump in Discord to know when I go live as well. You can also jump in Discord to know when I go live as well. So yeah. Yeah, just jump in the Discord and you'll know whenever I go live. You can also chill and hang out there, learn more about me, and yeah. Anyways, we are, however, unable to conduct an overall evaluation of the damage caused by earthquakes due to limited availability of sensors at Babylonia. To complicate the issue, many of the earthquakes occurred at locations in proximity to conservation areas. In close proximity to conservation areas, huh? Right, and according to current reports, the distribution of the last several earthquakes is abnormal, to say the least. Geologically speaking, the plates these affected areas are on aren't exactly active. None of them is situated in or around a seismic zone. Theoretically, these areas are supposed to be at a much lower risk of geological disasters. Which is why we choose to establish conservation areas in these areas in the first place. Celica superimposes the affected areas from the holographic map of the geological map. Something seems a little off here. Exactly, and post-earthquake, they found an average of 2.3% increase in the virus concentration across all affected areas. That is an interesting number. We can't draw an effective conclusion based on these data. What we do know is that the recent earthquakes have severely hindered construction efforts in the conservation areas, as a great number of buildings and energy facilities suffered damage. Many from engineering force have been sent down to assist with recovery efforts, but we need part of them to stay behind on the moon to help with the reconstruction of the base. To that end, we are assigning a great chunk of missions to task force squads. We're short-handed here for certain reasons. With hesitation, Celica lowers her head as she opens up the electronic file she holds in her hand. Since we're still working on re-establishing communication with the ground, we need a task force squad to go down to look into the situation, and that Grey Raven is your mission at this time. You are to rendezvous with the squad that is stationed there, and you are to help them investigate the damage inflicted by the earthquakes, repair damaged equipment, and determine what caused the concentration of punishing virus to rise post-earthquake. The squad will fill you all in on particulars when you get there. Roger that. As Celica taps away on her terminal, details of the mission start showing up on yours. Going through the list of participants, you notice that Lee is still missing. Any questions about the mission? Celica looks up at you from everything that's waiting for her to deal with. She appears somewhat tired, but still makes an effort to handle the situation as patiently and carefully as she can. No, I think I'm fine. You don't think you'd end up anywhere different than you did before bringing up Lee again now? We'll quickly get ourselves ready and be on our way in no time. Safe trip and best of luck. Commandant, we're here. Coming to your senses, Liv speaks to you. You realize that the aircraft is now parked squarely on the ground. Checking the map and seeing that the number of corrupted and hetero creatures around you is within a safe limit, you give Lucia the green light to open the aircraft's door. Setting foot on the ground, you feel lightheaded for a split second as a non-existent tiny crack stems out of the asphalt you're stepping on and shakes you to the core with a tremble from the depths of the earth itself. It felt like a heartbeat, one that came and went so fast that it almost seemed like an illusion. Commandant? Seeing you stop in your tracks, Liv walks up to you and casts you a worried glance. You let her know that you're fine as you shake your head and straighten yourself up. That was a neurological stimulation just now, and you guess it was probably just a side effect from the aircraft speeding up with reverse thrust. You didn't see it coming when it hit you just now, but you aren't going to let it happen again. Let's get started. We can't travel by the transportation craft going forward. I've reached out to a nearby team and they'll be here in 15 minutes with a smaller vehicle. We need to walk to the rendezvous point first, though. Roger that. All these, did the earthquakes cause this? Lucia hasn't let her guard down for a single second along the way. While Liv has been analyzing the fissures and concentration levels of punishing virus on the way with a recorder and marking them all down with a holographic map. Since the Battle of Copperfield Aquarium came to an end, the perceived threat from the hetero creatures have been waning from the red tide ebbing. Be it hetero creatures or punishing polymers, they stopped showing up in the truckload like they used to, and the crimson splotches on the satellite map disappeared as though they never existed in the first place. The Parliament was relieved knowing that a full-fledged clash using all-mega weapons was temporarily avoided. At the same time, the lunar base's reconstruction has been faster than ever, and the research of specialized frames have been making headway thanks to their new information. And with everything looking so positive for the time being, humans have been spared a moment to breathe. Every single victory has made its way to the people in no time, rekindling their hope. And this peacefulness, a sign of hope or just a temporary calm before the storm. You, however, have never been able to shake off the uneasy feeling in your mind. You are no stranger to what's happening, and the earthquakes have done nothing but unsettle you even more. Flustered, you promised yourself that you'd let go of nothing you come across here, and that you'll prepare yourself for anything that might happen, so your team won't have to face it alone again. Commandant, are you feeling okay? Slowing down, Lucia casts you a worried look. It hits you now that your face is heavy with a frown. I'm fine. Take it easy. This is just a recon mission, you tell yourself, as it occurs to you that this is the second time your team is checking on you since the mission began. I see you're almost fully recovered, Commandant, but it never hurts to be careful. And you too, Liv. Just take it easy. But honestly, try sending a dozen tough There's some tough guys my way now and watch me rough them all up. Bro, this option. No doubt about that, Commandant. But I just want you to know that I'll keep an eye out for you anyway. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Says Lucia with a frown on her face, which is something you know she normally wouldn't do. Close enough? That indeed sounds like something he would say. Liv nods in agreement, but her expression soon breaks into a complex smile. That's Lee for you. He might come across as sounding like a bitter person who doesn't care, but we all know for a fact that he's the exact opposite of that. And he'd always put everything on his own shoulders. I know, right? Lee doesn't really like to talk about what he likes and doesn't like, not even now. Liv and Lucia have read you like an open book. Never outspoken, Lee has been supporting Grey Raven in his own way. He's absent from a lot of the missions the team has been sent on these days because of all the adaptation tests he needs to go to, but he never misses a beat when it comes to routine work. Before the team heads out for a battle, you can always count on Lee to send you a detailed analysis of the locale and the enemy to be fought. Also, Lee never fails to fine-tune the exoskeletons and weapons at the base with meticulous care so they're battle-ready. You know that you can basically count on him to get everything done. God only knows when we'll be out on a mission together again. Hey, yeah. Nice. Yeah, it is interesting. True, I mean, they'll spill no beans about the research on the new specialized frame. I'm sure Commandant doesn't know much more than we do. Well, actually, you stop cold when your terminal starts ringing with connection request. It's from the Squad of Engineering Force stationed around the conservation area. Try switching to a different chant. There we go. Hey, can you hear me? A few buzzing noises later, you hear a cheerful voice coming from your terminal. This is Grey Raven. Hey, welcome home, bro. Welcome home. Hope you had a good shift at work, man. We're at the rendezvous point already. And hopefully you can, you just chill out and relax with me here as well. Hope you're enjoying your time here as well. Drift. Oh wow, support force here. We just confirmed your location and we'll be there in no time. Roger that. We'll be waiting here. 10 minutes later, a small vehicle with the world government logo sharpens into view, veering wildly out of all the collapsed building and faults with astounding dexterity. Yeah, glad you're enjoying the story, man. You seem to recognize the wildness with which the vehicle is being operated. Wildness with which the vehicle is being operated. Yeah, enjoying your company as well, Drift, my friend. Enjoying your company as well, man. The vehicle speeds down this way as you guess the identity of the driver. Yo! Swerving the vehicle to a stop with the same astounding dexterity and parking it squarely by the roadside, the driver pops her head out of the window. Hey! Bridget! Okay, Kuro, I gotta ask, Kuro, I know you're probably not listening to this right now, but Bridget playable when? Please, Kuro, Bridget playable when? Been a while, Commandant. What should it choose? Should it be funny? Yeah, let's totally be funny. Totally saw you coming, Bridget. Hop on already. We'll go through the particulars as we go. Contrary to how she drove coming down, Bridget now drives the vehicle steadily towards the conservation area. Also sitting in the vehicle is a construct from the engineering force. As Bridget drives, the construct goes over the particulars of the mission with her. Commandant Noct Kyrios, Lucia, and Liv, we have all three of you confirmed. We collected these data on our way here. Received with thanks. Sitting next to you, Liv and Lucius send the construct their data. These are going to come in handy. Thank you so much. Thanks. We knew we would always count on Grey. We knew we could always count on Grey Raven. How's everything looking? Not so good. We didn't end up with any casualties from the earthquakes because we got everyone evacuated in time, but a big part of the conservation area's basic infrastructure came down because of the earthquakes. We're now trying to bring power back with a backup power system. Some of the communication towers got ruined too. Engineering forces working at top speed trying to bring them back up, and we should see the connection in this zone up and running tomorrow. We don't know if there would be aftershocks though. The only thing we can say about the earthquakes at this point is that they hit at random times. You guys are a godsend, Grey Raven, because we're short-handed as of now. That's what Celica said too. Isn't there another task force squad around? A commander came down this morning with some constructs. I'm guessing they put the squad together ad hoc. And they're on a mission now around the conservation area. I think there are way worse. And they even picked up traces of corrupted. We'd have asked Babylonia to send more hands down, but things aren't looking exactly peaceful with task force these days either, no? What do you mean? Defectors. Ah. Haven't been quiet this whole time. The construct of engineering force suddenly breaks her silence and chimes in. As you glance at the rearview mirror, you can feel her vigilant gaze fixed upon you. Bridget takes off her sunglasses and lets out a sigh. The Parliament has been trying to keep everyone in the dark, but the whole thing is an open secret now. We're suddenly seeing a bunch of defecting constructs these days, and a lot of the squads with defecting constructs got put on hold for missions and put under investigation at Babylonia. Well, damn. Celica's heavy face from back then makes sense now. And Teasel too, I see. You look over at Liv, whose face is just as heavy now. They aren't allowed to come down to Earth for missions until the higher-ups get to the bottom of the situation. A lot of the squads that get sent down these days are scraped together. People are finding it difficult to work with one another. Of all times too, huh? Task Force has all of the intel shared among its members and possesses the most lethal of weapons, making it vulnerable to even the least bit of mistrust and suspicion among its members. Rumor has it that a defecting construct showed up at a base on Earth with an ascendant and killed everyone there. My friend is still in the lockup because of all that one certain construct. Bridget pats the construct on the shoulder. There's nothing wrong with getting yourself ready for what's coming your way, but there are things that are simply above your pay grade. So I'm only seeing 3 of you here. What happened to this other guy called Lee? He's on a different mission. I see. Been a while since I last saw him. You last fought alongside Lee at the beach. In the battle where everyone's life was at stake. After the battle, you never really had a chance to talk to Lee, except once. Oh yeah, that is kind of true. Been a while since Grand Blue. Since the Grand Blue chapter. Ooh! Hey, and Live 2D, let's go! Hey, yo, that's sick. Live 2D, let's go! Coming back to Babylonia from a surface mission one day, you saw Lee in the lounge. He was sitting in front of a desk. His always worn jacket was placed neatly aside, revealing the part of his frame without bioskin. Lee was fixing his right arm, whose mechanical structure was exposed. With a tool in his hand, he was making meticulous adjustments to the mechanical parts on his arm. All the while, however, Lee was doing so with a face so straight that one wouldn't have been blamed for thinking that he was just picking apart some machine. Are you just going to keep standing there? Lee snapped at you, all the while carrying on with what he had been doing. You decided to continue the conversation. What happened to your arm? It's from one of the missions from before. It's nothing serious. And I just thought I'd take this opportunity to fine-tune the output structure. Well, you can just ask them to do it for you at the maintenance department. I'm just more comfortable here. And I don't want to make people do for me what I can just do for myself. You don't remember seeing Lee pay many visits to the maintenance department at the start of life, but it doesn't mean he never gets hurt. He's always been seen alone, and people who don't know him might find him aloof. But people who do know him, that he's just as used to putting the burden on his own shoulders. Lee carried on with work without looking up, filling the room with the clinks and clanks of metal parts. Am I bothering you? Not really. This is your lounge. Lee seemed lost for words with a frown. Just ask whatever questions you have. How's everything coming along with the adaptation tests? I believe I sent you a report every time there was a test. After the Battle of Copperfield Aquarium and with your assistance, Hassan agreed to the idea of sending you a progress report along with updates on the frame every time there's an adaptation test. Hassan, however, had refused to provide you updates on anything else, saying this frame does not require mind connection with the Commandant at this moment. Except the reports didn't really clear your doubts. I've seen them. But I'm curious about what didn't go into the reports. What exactly does sudden mind overload mean? And something just feels a little off about you these days. As if he was hiding something. One question at a time. I've only got one mouth to do all the talking. Now, about the sudden mind overload. I don't know what's causing it, but it hasn't affected the frame or its battle performance. Everything about the new frame is within normal standards. And there's nothing off about me. Well, if you don't ever bring it up to Lee, he'll just put all the load on himself and solve it all before people even know there were problems. If you ask me what we've done for him, well, I can hardly think of anything. He has always everything planned out. I might be Graven's captain, but I often find myself relying on his judgment. I seem to always think that he's just going to finish everything I ask him to do, which he actually does, except it never just hits me that Lee might need help himself. He just never brings it up. And that's Lee for you. He always meets the problem head on. He's always quiet, yet you all know you can count on him. But I'm not so sure I can feel the same anymore. I'm never there when my team members adjust themselves to new frames, and I just don't want anything to go wrong with any of you anymore. And I'll be sure to be there this time if you ever need me. I'm sure you will. Sure you will. Lee's frown lit up with a faint smile on his face. Aw, the smile is appearing. I have every responsibility to keep you all safe as your commandant. Totally saw that coming. But don't sweat it, I'll be fine. I can just tell something is weighing you down on the inside. I'm worried about you, Lee, both as a friend and as your commandant. You remember having said this to Lee. I have no doubt you can handle everything. But it's never healthy when you always try to take the burden on your own. We'll never know what you need if you never say anything. And there are things that can go unnoticed if you always choose to be quiet about them. Lee, however, looked away from me in what seemed like temporary bewilderment. You waved her hand at him to get his attention. Lee? Right, of course. If there's anything I need your help with. Lee stopped in his tracks and looked up at you with a straight face. I'll let you know. Pretty good moment, man. Pretty cool. That was such a good heart-to-heart, man. I love that. Said Lee, except you didn't know if he was just saying it to make you feel better. With that, everyone falls silent as the vehicle carries you through the locked facilities. Before long, you arrive at the conservation area. The damaged buildings have been temporarily reinforced, and members of the engineering force are bustling about. When some of them pass by, they nod in greeting to Bridget, and she reciprocates with nods. Our temporary base is right over there. Let me take you there first. Captain! Right then, a construct from engineering force and rushes over. There you are. Here, you need to have a look at these data. Take it easy. What is it? Bridget takes the monitoring device from the construct and starts going through the data. The geomagnetic storm peaked again, just now. And it's the highest we've seen over the past 2 days. When was the last time we saw a peak? When the second aftershock hit. Right when the construct finishes its sentence, a deafening rumble fills the air. And with it, the ground starts trembling. Oh shit. Damn. Alright, gotta hydrate real quick. Hydration! Signs and abnormality. Hey, let's go. The fall was endless. Aside from the soul-crushing pain, this is what Lee remembers most vividly from being turned into a construct. To this day, Lee still remembers the day he was turned into the construct he is now at Chronos lab, which, unlike the trial area at the Science Council, is a dark, cold lab in the basement. People at the lab told him that he would be mankind's long-awaited hero if the experiment turned out successful. Lee, however, knew better than to take what they said seriously. The construct tech developed behind the scenes at the cost of countless lives, their plans, and mankind's hope. Lee cared about none of these. All he ever really wanted was for people he cared about to live a safe life going forward. Lee wasn't the first one to have participated in the project. From where he was, he could even see the poor souls before him immersed in the pods around his, their bodies pale and motionless. Those bodies, hooked up to innumerable wires, were anything but human. They had been disassembled and reassembled, only at the end to either be used or discarded, erasing every last bit of human dignity they might have had. A few lost causes tainted the floor with their vital fluid trying to crawl their way out of the lab into the broken body. Lee was glad that he wasn't yet in that state when Murray last saw him as a human. Damn. Oh, flashback to Lee's interlude, dude. Oh, that callback. He thought he was going to carry on fighting forever as a tool, until someone came along and told him that they saw constructs as indispensable partners. Ah, oh, dude. Oh, the callbacks. It's so good. Lee thought it was just another lie, but the person made a promise and lived up to the promise. Which is why Lee never wants his commandant to see him when he goes through the tests or to be burdened with concerns about potential risks. While the rest of Grey Raven is fighting on the ground, so too is Lee fighting a battle of his own. He's going to solve everything, and all that rest that Grey Raven has to do is wait for him to go back a changed man, so they can all go on missions again like they have so many times before. Seeing Murray grow up healthy and as had always been Lee's only hope, but now he is another, having joined Grey Raven. Oh, the flashback to the first chapter, man. Lying down in the experiment pod, Lee picks up a cable and inserts it into the port in his neck like he has so many times. Let's skip virtual bridging this time and dive straight into the battle simulation with the new frame. Asimov points to the new frame, which lies in a pod. Instead of the standard compatibility data, we'll be using our own data today. To see if what happened before is going to happen again. Sure. Let's get started then. Starting mind transfer. Please enter the activation parameter for temporary authorization for frame switch. Commencing battle mode in frame. Initialization completed. Constructing battle environment. Construction of battle environment completed. Hey, let's go.
Simulation complete. Commandant, we're going to win this fight.
Simulation system loaded. How do you feel? Anything strange? No, not at all. Everything is good. The adaptation is better than expected. Good. Seems the mind and frame are going well together. Let's start the first test then. Use the basic abilities of frame to defeat the enemy. Let's go.
Nothing serious. Focus.
Test completed. Entering the next phase. The mobility of this frame has been significantly improved based on your habits and requirements. It also comes with excellent firepower. However, that will also increase your burden in combat. When facing a large number of enemies, you need to make use of all of your available weapons to quickly finish them off. I'll give you plenty of signal orbs in the second test. Use a composite armaments to deal with the vast number of enemies.
Nothing serious.
Let's go. Oh god.
There's no way out.
Oh shit.
No way out.
Damn.
Nothing serious.
God damn it.
Focus. Don't think you can escape my sight. Don't think you can escape my sight. No way out.
Hey, let's go. Signature move function awakened. Okay.
Nothing serious. Focus. Cease your existence. At the end of time.
Yeah. Let's go.
No way out. Don't think you can escape my sight. No way out. No way out.
Okay, I think I've pretty much mastered this frame. The basic abilities are enough for you to handle regular combat, but on top of that, we still plan to add a special power to this frame. Plan to? Right, for now, this feature only exists in theory. With its incredible instant computing power, when this frame is running at maximum output, it can even transcend beyond time and dimensions. Ayo? Let's just call it Hyper Matrix for now. You can try using this feature in the simulated battle first. I'm ready. Press and hold the basic attack button to enter Hyper Matrix.
Time is under my control.
Hey, let's go. Is this the Hyper Matrix you mentioned? Just like Matrix, it will forecast all possible enemy actions. They must be near stationary in your eyes. But Hyper Matrix is more than that. The attack data from certain skills you used earlier will be stored within the core of your weapon. In this space, you can access and reuse this information by attacking enemies. Given its extremely high power consumption, the duration of Hypermatrix will likely be very limited. In this space, you can access and reuse the information by attacking enemies. Great, you can consume the skill data to generate new sight points and unleash them all onto the enemy when the Hypermatrix ends. When Hypermatrix is closed, all the sight points across the dimensions will be unleashed onto the enemy. Now try using the signature move to leave Hypermatrix. Hey, let's go.
Don't think you can escape my... No way out! Your chance of survival has been reduced to 0.
From now on, I'm going to load the data of some formidable enemies. The system will no longer help you maintain Hypermatrix. You need to control it yourself. I see. Okay, let's go.
No way out! Cease your existence.
Hey, let's go.
At the end of time!
Let's call it a day. Your computing power is all drained. Let's call it a day before you put yourself in danger. Alright, I think we need just a few more tweaks before officially deploying the frame in combat. Okay, there you go. Why is the simulation combat system still on? Asimov, what's going on? System execute the logout command. No response? Lee, no logout error. Danger. Do you copy? Overload. Lee! Lee! Ayo? What's going on, Ayo? Yo? The few seconds it took for Lee to exit battle simulation mode seemed like an eternity. A blinding flash of light engulfs his vision. Within the depths of his sight, the twisting spiral tower emerges and collapses repeatedly, while the surroundings blur and shift at a rapid pace throughout the passage of time. What in the world was? Swallowing in them is meaningless for constructs, but Lee clenches his fist anyways as he tries to calm the nausea he's feeling from the mind overload. Where is he? The Science Council in Babylonia? The deserted factory full of corrupted? Or the Chrono lab in the basement with all the broken constructs? A crimson fog clouds over his eyes as the views from Lee's deep mind crosses over into reality, blurring his perception of time. What was that he saw in his mind? If that was an abnormal projection because of the data anomaly, it seemed almost too realistic. Try as he may, Lee can't seem to see through the crimson fog that clouded his memory. Unable to describe what he saw, Lee's now feeling nothing but heart-wrenching sadness and bone-deep despair, which quickly fade away as his mind recovers. Lee's hunch is that this is happening because his memory is locked, except he checked his memory data multiple times and never came across any sign of his memory being tampered with, nor any sign of memory loss. He missed something he should have had no trouble seeing, and it's not the first time this happened. Everything Lee just went through took place only a few seconds, and so everyone except Lee has already recovered. Coming back to his senses, Lee lies down on the pod and changes back to entropy. How long did my mind overload last just now? It lasted for 3 seconds, but my mind record reads 35 minutes. It seems like this only happens when you use that particular frame. With a solemn face, Asimov presses his finger on a corner of his forehead. We just got the issue with the invert device taken care of, and now we're looking at this whole other bunch of new issues here. Let's have a look first at the parameters that went into the test this time. The Science Council remains illuminated. Everyone carries on with what they have to do quietly. The invert device specialized frames and omega weapons, with this research project demanding everything in the brain juice of every last researcher that the Science Council has. Mankind sees the brain children of its wisdom all put into use for one single cause. Every single booty won, despite at the cost of countless lives, has been handed over to the researchers, rekindling hope in mankind. We have the results from the analysis now. How does everything look? The invert device worked just fine, and the frame is 98% compatible, except there was obviously something wrong with his mind just now, right? Right, it's the same as what just happened before. We always end up with an overload when we try to collect battle data with him in that particular frame, and it only happens when he's in that frame. We compared what we have here with the test results from a virtual connection, and confirmed that this is what happens when the omega weapon in the frame reaches maximum power when working. The invert device, on the other hand, works just fine, and we see the percentage of infection go down at the critical point, which is why the data of this frame seems completely normal, and I'd even go as far as calling the data impressive. And this frame is the only one out of all the specialized frames that's completely immune to the punishing virus, which is exactly what we hope to see. We found a way to balance omega weapons to help us absorb and purify punishing. The data extracted from heterometer shards can help omega weapons better purify punishing. If we can work on improvising the invert device, this frame's purification speed will be able to catch up to its absorption speed just fine. If we can normalize the technology of this frame, then I'm sure it's going to be a major game changer. Asimov's voice sounds on the verge of cracking when he says game changer. We don't know why mind overloads, but it only does when I change into that new frame. I'm sure it has to do with the fact that it's a specialized frame and that it has something that the simulated data don't. Something like this happened before, but never to the extent we saw this time. Right, it was 0.5 seconds to begin with, and now we're seeing 3 seconds. Your mind fluctuated so much during this period of time that we couldn't even pick up the correct range with the machines. If we'd run the test on a different construct, their mind would have been destroyed and they would have been infected right away. We usually only see an overload when someone's mind is imprinted with an excessive amount of data in an extremely short period of time. But you're able to recover within 3 seconds with all your numbers back to normal, as if nothing has happened to you. We haven't observed damage on your mind so far. Asimov is right. This only happens when you're using the new frame. But I don't remember anything that's imprinted on my mind, and I'm not seeing any extra data in there either. All that Lee remembers is a single message. Only he and Murray understand, and pieces of subconsciousness that would pop into his mind every now and then. Every so often, Lee sees location coordinates to key to his mission, so hear calls coming from the seashore that disappear before he knows it. Before he gets to the bottom of the message, Lee decides to stay quiet to keep Murray out of trouble. There's got to be something I'm missing. A voice in Lee's subconsciousness, however, seems to want him to stop probing. Trust me. We're going to apply this technology to all the new specialized frames somewhere down the road. And to that end, we have to simulate as many possible scenarios as we can. Asimov, have you seen traces of my memory data being modified or hidden? No, none so far at least. My deep mind? Theoretically, your commandant is the only person who can access your mind, which can only mean 2 things. Either the infiltrator is doing an impressive job covering the tracks, or your mind just hasn't been tampered with at all. And if someone did access your mind, I can send the Grey Raven commandant an access key for a deep mind connection with you. Although we have to change you back into the new frame so your mind can overload a new frame first so we can... Although we'll have to have you change back into the new frame first so your mind can overload again. We need to keep in mind, though, that we don't know how your commandant's mind beacon is going to affect the overload, or if the overload is going to affect your commandant's mind beacon. But if your commandant grants access to your mind, we just might be able to dig up something from there. No, we can't do that. Calm up to this point. Lee voices his rejection against the idea. The overload might just last for a few seconds, but there's no way the human brain can handle it. I'm not even completely familiar with the frame myself, and I can't expose my commandant to any risk before having a better grasp for it. I just don't want to put anyone in harm's way ever again. Asimov lets out a sigh. Boy, here we go again. Noctis Curios came to me a few times trying to figure out how you've been doing. Are you just going to keep being quiet about it? I just don't see a point. I'm sure Noctis Curios is going to barge right into the Science Council the moment the commandant finds out everything I've been through. I know that for a fact because I know my own commandant inside and out. Keeping someone in the dark is rarely a good thing to do, though. Apologies for coming in without knocking on the door. I came right in because I didn't see Long out there. Right then, a gentle blonde man appears by the door as he closes it ever so softly. It's Murray. Murray? Lee, good to see you here. Murray doesn't have a good view of Lee from where he's standing, but Lee clearly sees him hiding the document in his hands behind his back upon noticing his presence, which however doesn't escape Lee's eyes. Let me guess, did Nicholas send you here with a message for me? Commander Nicholas sent me here with this document. He would like you to know that it's usable now because it's gone through all the process. Murray passes the dossier to Asimov. It's clear with the World Government's logo, though, which the logo of the Knighter of Nona Ouroboros can be seen. That's good news. I'll take that. With a genuine exclamation, Asimov takes the dossier from Murray and starts going through it. So what's up with you recently? Not much. I haven't really been on any battle missions these days, so I've been doing what I'm supposed to as a liaison officer. That's great. Just don't overwork yourself, yeah? And let me know if you ever need help. Of course, take good care of yourself too, Lee. The room is quiet, save for the sound of Asimov turning the pages of the document. 5 minutes later, closing the document, Asimov looks at both Lee and Murray, both of whom are standing perfectly upright. Say, I've never seen siblings talk to each other the same way you do. Or is it how people usually talk to their family these days? Everything is okay with the document. I'll pass it to Long when he's back. And we're finished with today's adaptation test, so you're free to go. I'm just going to go and wrap everything up. As Asimov turns to leave, he casts a meaningful look at Lee. Let's cut to the chase. Then since you already know what's going on, you were the top candidate when it came to the mega specialized frame. But they picked Liv, and it wasn't just because she submitted an application. Someone is holding you back from being picked. And that would be Murray, huh? He doesn't even need to ask Asimov to know that must have been Murray. Oh! So Liv... So technically speaking, Lee would have technically got the Imperia frame. So Lee was supposed to be first. Interesting. I never have let Liv do that if I'd known better. They would have picked her sooner or later anyway, since it really makes no difference to us. I guess Murray did what he did because he cares about you, no? I just never thought he'd go this far. You don't seem to talk a lot about yourself to him, do you? Makes sense that he's been going around asking about you. Well, there isn't anything to talk about. I just want him to be safe. Playing the role of a mediator at the Parliament, influencing people's decisions without their knowledge, and finishing his tasks without so much as a failure, none of these comes without challenge. Having spent quite some time down at Chronos' lab, Lee knows better than to mess with what he shouldn't. And if anything ever does, they'll be gone in one foul swoop. Lee doesn't want to stop Murray from doing what he wants to do, but neither does he want Murray to ever get hurt. I'll try to have a talk with him. I'll be on my way then. Wait, Murray. Care if I join you for a walk? Sure. Hey, let's go. I think that's gonna be all for today's stream. A bit tired. Think I'm gonna stop here for now. So, yeah. Continue it later on another stream. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for staying with me. For being here, sticking around, enjoying the stream with me, chilling out with me. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed chilling out with me, enjoying the stream. And, yeah. Remember to stay humble and be kind to people. And I'll see you guys later.